Hello again, Michael Ware here with the Iowa Firearms Coalition. I usually rattle off something about Warrior Wednesday, but that's not what we're doing. We have had the privilege and the honor of visiting with the 2026 Iowa Gubernatorial Candidates. And with us today, we have Adam Steen. Hello.
Hey, hello. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for your willingness to come on today. We're offering this platform to everybody to let the candidates know everybody where they're at on the basis of the Second Amendment. And we've had people respond enthusiastically. Thank you for that.
No, absolutely. It's my pleasure.
All right. So I'm going to add to the stage here real quick. We did a blog the other day called Refining the Iowa Governor's Race and the Universal Litmus Test being the Second Amendment. I happen to believe that very much, and I have for a long time. So I thought that maybe we thought that it was a good idea to ask some simple questions that outline our agenda with IFC, shared with NRA and others, of course, and see where the candidates fell on these four specific issues. And so I'd like to give you the context, gubernatorial candidate Adam Steen, and then we'll see what your answers are and then turn it over to you to visit with us about what we need to know. Are you okay with that?
100%.
Fantastic. Let's get right in there. So history has shown that making a rule or posting a sign declaring a place a no-gun zone, such as a school, does nothing to protect people gathered there. In fact, there is irrefutable evidence that some of the worst mass murderers specifically chose those sites to avoid armed resistance. Federal law and some states' law allow a person with a valid permit to carry a firearm in schools and on school property. So the question is, will you support changing Iowa code to support a permit to carry being sufficient for a school?
Absolutely, 100%. I think now more than ever, it's absolutely critical to support that.
I like that. Was there anything else?
Well, I could go into a whole series of things. I mean, I don't know if we want to save it to the end, but I spoke at an event with a group down just south of Indianola, and I talked about this very thing. I said, we now more than ever, we need to be able to carry, especially around schools. And I'd even support figuring out a way to create some sort of a process where, former military or retired police officers can help defend our schools. We have to step up and defend our schools. It's outrageous what's happening in this world right now. And to try to put any constraint in front of our ability to protect our children is egregious to me. And we need to support that 100%.
Agreed. Okay. Let's hit the second question then. When an employer bans the possession of a firearm or ammunition in a private vehicle on employer property, employees must face a choice of risking dismissal by ignoring their rule or being dismissed from the time that they leave, or being disarmed rather, from the time they leave home until they return, no matter how long their commute or how many other places they need to visit. IC believes that the proper place to draw the line between the rights of employers and the rights, including the expectation of privacy and the right to be armed in self-defense, is at the locked door of a private vehicle. The laws of at least 26 states agree. So the question is, will you support legislation to protect Iowans from the de facto firearm ban on private and public employer parking lots?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I can give you an example on that. I want to maybe take this in two directions, really. I'm a free market, get the government out of the way type of guy all day long. For 5 years, I ran the operations of state government for the state of Iowa. I oversaw the Department of Administrative Services. And one thing that the state of Iowa does is we allow state employees to have a weapon in their vehicle in state, like Capitol Complex parking lots. So I'd absolutely support this and think that's necessary. I do think we'd have to probably promote at a high level on private parking lots. I think it's critical that we got to get people able to carry their weapons, especially in a day and age like we're in today. So I'd support that all day long.
Fantastic. Thank you. Our third question then. Since 1934, federal law has tightly regulated but does not prohibit the private ownership of machine guns, suppressors, short-barreled rifles, shotguns, destructive devices, explosive, blah, blah, blah. Iowa law terms these offensive weapons And since 2016-17, Iowa has allowed for the private ownership and use of short barrel rifles and shotguns. The repeal of the state's earlier prohibition has not resulted in any apparent problems. Iowa is one of only 14 states that ban the private possession of machine guns, even when in full compliance with the federal law. Nationwide, crime committed with lawfully possessed machine guns has been almost non-existent. IFC believes Iowa's ban on offensive weapons is redundant and unnecessary. So the question before us is, will you support removing 724.1 and related statutes from Iowa Code?
Yes, I would, 100%. And it goes back to the redundancy in that. I mean, we're in a day and age where people should be able to own and operate weapons that they choose. And to your point, there's nothing stating that we shouldn't have this removed. So I'm all in on that as well.
Fair enough. Thank you. Let's move forward to our last question. The Iowa Firearms Coalition advocates for the creation of a specialty Gadsden flag license plate in Iowa, symbolizing Second Amendment rights and the opposition to government overreach. The plate is intended to be a volunteer funding mechanism for 2A educational programs through an additional fee. Despite passing the Iowa House with bipartisan support 2 years consecutively, the measure failed in the Senate, prompting the IFC to urge Iowans to contact their legislators in support of the plate, which they see as a reflection of the will of the people, especially following the passage of the state's Freedom Amendment. The historical "Don't Tread on Me" motto of the Gadsden flag is highlighted as a powerful statement against government intrusion. The question before you is, will you support the Gadsden plate legislation that directs voluntary funding for 2A education, safety, and training?
Yeah, I find this, I 100% support that. And I find it almost comical that this isn't something that should easily be passed as a common sense measure. I remember when the blackout plates came out, if I remember right, fairly early, they reached $1 million in the purchase of those blackout plates. I think a Gadsden flag plate would reach very high levels as well, because I think it's an important issue. People care about it. And when that type of funding goes back into the programming that we need, I'm all in on that as well. I find it very strange that this isn't some sort of no-brainer common sense thing that should pass very, very easily.
I agree. Let's see if we can make it happen. All right. I want to share your website screen. There we go. So thank you, first of all, for answering those 4 questions. I appreciate short and sweet responses. Now, the floor is yours. Gubernatorial Candidate Adam Steen, will you tell us a little bit about you? We need to know.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Michael. So for 18 years, I've been in the private sector, owning and operating several businesses across Iowa. One of the businesses I created, which I probably your members will appreciate, is turkeyfan.com. So I created a hunting decoy business, took a product out of a friend's garage. We commercialized it and reached national distribution all across the country. It has been on the shelves at major retailers, Bass Pro, Shields, you name it, again, all across the country. I sold my ownership 7 or 8 years ago in that, but I've been in the hunting community for years. I'm an avid hunter. I've got my own sort of special collection of guns here at the house. And actually, we're now going to be training my wife on some of the guns we've got in the home, just based upon the fact that we've jumped into this race and the nature of sort of the world right now. But so 18 years, private sector, working with businesses all across the state. I am a businessman. I've got the grit that it takes to keep working, keep fighting. And the governor's office 5 years ago recruited me to come in and operate the state. They saw how good I was operating businesses. They saw how good I was dealing with challenges. And so they recruited me to come into the state of Iowa. And for 5 years, I've been operating the state of Iowa behind the scenes, working with every single department, from corrections all the way to public safety, all the way to the Department of Management. And I know the ins and outs of state government operations. I know the ins and outs of working with the legislature to make sure that we can pass America first, people first, common sense policy to create not just the free state we have, but to double down on the free state that we have. I believe that Iowa is the freest state in the union. And if the Democrats come in with their woke liberal agendas, we're in trouble. And I jumped into this race. I resigned my position with the state. And I tell people I resigned a job that I love so that I could fight for a state that I love. And I got 2 boys, 10 and 8, married to a wife, Casey. And we all agreed this was the time for me to jump into this race to fight off the Democrat woke agenda and make sure that we keep the state free. So I'm here to protect and preserve the culture of the state of Iowa. I'm looking for support in every single area because this is, again, America first. It's people first. It's common sense. We need to let Iowans be Iowans and keep this state red, keep it conservative, keep it free.
I've got to tell you, I probably shouldn't take this point of personal privilege, but the truth of the matter is, I think that this is going to be a very tough primary for people like me to cast a vote. And the reason I say that is, for the first time in a long time, and I'm not saying we haven't had good candidates in the past, but I don't think that we've had as many good candidates to choose among on some of these races for a long time. There are some fantastic people lining up that's saying that I want to lead and take Iowa further. I want to protect it more, whatever else. I'm glad that you're willing to do this. Thank you for that. I think that I think you're in a darn tough primary against some good candidates. And I feel like at the moment, I'm not sure Iowa could lose with whoever we have to choose from. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for your willingness to talk about the Second Amendment and let us know a little bit more about you. So I've got your site pulled up here. Let us know how you want us to follow you and how we can stay up to date on your communication.
Yeah, I appreciate that. AdamSteen.com. AdamSteen, STEEN.com. On the website, you can go to any of the socials that you X, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, right there. Yep, absolutely. So any of those, you can follow us. We're keeping things regularly updated. We're keeping on to the stories of the day. And again, now more than ever, it's time to stand up. It's time to be bold. We need to be bold in our faith. And from my perspective, that's our Christian faith. And we need to move this state forward, keep it free, and defend against the left coming in, trying to take that away from us. AdamSteen.com.
Adam Steen, Gubernatorial Candidate, AdamSteen.com. Thank you. That should wrap it up. Again, the Second Amendment being the ultimate litmus test of any politician or leader. And you heard it here with Iowa Firearms Coalition. Thank you. We'll let you go, Adam. And we appreciate your willingness to come on. We wish you the best.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.